Yes, what is your name?
John.
John, what is your question?
Well, one of the things that I really love about the book and the show is that they're the same but so very, very different. And I was wondering if the original source material has been beneficial to the actors, and also what it's like to be still writing the book and yet creating the show sort of at the same time, at different points in the story.
Okay, so part one of that question, what for the actors, did the comic book inform any way that you played the character?
Yeah, up until you chopped my hand off, and then I stopped reading the comic book. But yeah, funnily enough, I asked him to send me some of the books.
I'm gonna.
Just because this... I'm gonna. Yeah, and I just went, just because I think it's important that I mind the rest of the story.
You're in England, and it's just packaging and shipping. It's just,
Unbelievable. But yes, obviously, as we've always said, we want to honor the tone of the book and the source material and these characters, and we want to do right, because without the comic book fans, we would never be here. So, but ultimately, we do, over time, and we've checked. By definition of what we are, we're a different thing, but it's a different format. It's a different art form, so it's got to be a different thing. So, what? I've no idea.
But also, I think it's interesting to point out that particularly in the comic book too, it's like, like when you see the governor in the comic book, right away, like, oh, that guy's a piece of shit. Like, right away. And so, but I think watching his we've kind of been party to his descent in the show, which I think is just more humanizing for him, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think being able to peel back the layers and not make his character so overtly sinister.
Yeah.
It was a really cool different way to tell that story, and for me, I really enjoy the differences because I'm in the writer's room, and if it was just reading the comic and going, oh, let's do this, then I would be falling asleep and bored the entire time. And so I really like being able to get in there and say, hey, this thing I wrote 6 years ago sucks, let's do this better, and tearing it apart and changing things and doing new stuff. And I think it's a lot of fun to get in there and change it up. And to answer the part of your question that I think was part two, it's fun for me because every month I am doing a new issue and working on that stuff with Charlie Adlard, and that process hasn't really changed at all despite all of this stuff. But there's this new element to my life where I get to sit in a writer's room with a bunch of really talented people and delve back into the past of the comic, the backstory, things that I did a long time ago, and discuss that stuff and look at it in a different light and really get in there and change it. And it's fun having those two different aspects of The Walking Dead for me.
It is pretty interesting because I think as a fan, it's more fun to be able to be surprised by the show and not just watch and go, oh, this is the part where this happens, or but I also think it's kind of a bold choice when you have a successful literary work that you're going to be like, no, we're going to do this whole kind of other new thing. It's kind of a...
Well, a lot of people read the comic book, and part of the appeal of it is that when you sit down to read an issue, you have no idea, who's going to die or what's going to happen, and it's very exciting, and there's a lot of tension involved. And I feel like if any percentage of the audience watching the television show was able to say, oh yeah, I read the comic and this is going to happen now, it would take a huge part of the appeal of this concept away. And so I love the fact that we're able to keep people guessing.